Welcome to War Bios, the podcast that delves into the lives of history's most fascinating military figures. Today, we're going to explore the remarkable life of Curtis LeMay, a man whose name is synonymous with strategic bombing and whose legacy continues to shape the course of modern warfare. Born on November 15, 1906, in Columbus, Ohio, Curtis LeMay's early years would lay the foundation for a lifetime of service, innovation, and controversy. As we step into the world of young Curtis LeMay, we find ourselves in the midst of a rapidly changing America. The early 20th century was a time of great upheaval, with the country transitioning from a rural, agrarian society to an urban, industrial powerhouse. The smell of coal smoke and freshly cut grass filled the air, as the sounds of horse-drawn carriages and early automobiles mingled with the chatter of pedestrians on the bustling streets of Columbus. The LeMay family, however, remained rooted in traditional values, with Curtis's father, Charles, working as a steelworker and his mother, Arizona, managing the household. This stable, if unremarkable, upbringing would provide Curtis with a sense of security and normalcy that would serve him well in the tumultuous years to come. Growing up in Columbus, Ohio, Curtis LeMay was surrounded by the sights and sounds of a bustling city. He spent his childhood playing in the streets, exploring the local parks, and developing a passion for mechanics and engineering. His parents, though not wealthy, encouraged his curiosity, providing him with tools and materials to tinker with. As Curtis entered his teenage years, he began to develop a strong sense of discipline and responsibility. His parents, though not strict, instilled in him a respect for authority and a strong work ethic. He worked part-time jobs to support his family, including stints as a grocery clerk and a newspaper delivery boy. These early experiences taught Curtis the value of hard work, punctuality, and attention to detail, traits that would serve him well in his future military career. We can imagine Curtis rising before dawn to deliver newspapers, the cold morning air invigorating him as he navigated the streets, or carefully arranging cans on a shelf at the local grocery store, his mind focused on the task at hand. The world around Curtis was also changing rapidly during these formative years. World War I had just ended, and the country was struggling to come to terms with its newfound status as a global power. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, with jazz music, flappers, and speakeasies capturing the imagination of young Americans. But Curtis LeMay, though certainly aware of these cultural shifts, remained focused on his studies and his future. He was drawn to the stories of pioneers like Charles Lindbergh, who had just completed the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight, and the thrill of adventure that came with exploring the unknown. The seeds of Curtis's future ambitions were being sown as he began to see the world as a place of limitless possibility. In 1924, Curtis graduated from Columbus South High School and began attending Ohio State University, where he studied civil engineering. It was during this period that he developed a keen interest in aviation, sparked by the exploits of Charles Lindbergh and other pioneering aviators. LeMay's fascination with flight would eventually lead him to join the Reserve Officers Training Corps, ROTC, and, later, the United States Army Air Corps. As he delved deeper into his studies, Curtis began to see the world from a new perspective, one that combined the precision of engineering with the thrill of exploration. He spent hours poring over textbooks, attending lectures, and participating in discussions, his mind absorbing the knowledge like a sponge. His parents' emphasis on discipline, hard work, and responsibility instilled in him a strong sense of character, while his natural curiosity and passion for mechanics and engineering laid the groundwork for a lifetime of innovation and problem-solving. As Curtis LeMay's fascination with aviation deepened, he began to pursue a career in the United States Army Air Corps with an unrelenting passion that would define his storied military career. In 1928, he graduated from Ohio State University with a degree in civil engineering and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army Reserve, marking the beginning of a journey that would take him to the pinnacle of military leadership. LeMay's early years in the Air Corps were marked by intense training and dedication as he worked tirelessly to master the skills of a pilot, often pushing himself to the limits of human endurance. He earned his wings in 1930 and went on to attend the Air Corps Tactical School, where he developed a keen understanding of strategic bombing tactics that would serve as the foundation for his future successes. The tactical school, with its emphasis on innovative thinking and strategic problem-solving, proved to be a transformative experience for LeMay. he was exposed to some of the most brilliant minds in military aviation, and he quickly absorbed the lessons of the interwar period, recognizing the potential of air power to revolutionize modern warfare. As he delved deeper into the world of strategic bombing, LeMay became increasingly fascinated with the work of pioneering aviators like Billy Mitchell, who had championed the cause of air power in the face of skepticism and resistance from traditional military leaders. LeMay's big break came in 1937, when he was assigned to the 2nd Bombardment Group at Langley Field, Virginia, a posting that would prove to be a turning point in his career. It was during this period that he began to develop his expertise in long-range bombing and navigation, skills that would serve him well in the years to come as he navigated the complexities of modern warfare. In 1939, LeMay was promoted to captain and became the operations officer for the 2nd Bombardment Group, a position that gave him a unique perspective on the inner workings of a bomber unit and allowed him to hone his leadership skills. As tensions escalated in Europe, LeMay found himself at the forefront of the United States military preparedness efforts, working closely with General Ira Eaker, who would later become a key figure in the development of the United States Army Air Forces, USAAF. LeMay's expertise in strategic bombing and his ability to think critically made him an invaluable asset to Eaker and the USAAF as they grappled with the challenges of building a modern air force from scratch. Together, they pored over intelligence reports, studied the tactics of enemy air forces, and developed innovative strategies for countering the threats posed by Axis powers. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor drew the United States into World War II, marking a seismic shift in the global balance of power. LeMay, now a lieutenant colonel, played a key role in planning and executing the USAAF's early bombing campaigns against Japan, drawing on his expertise in strategic bombing to help shape the Allied response to the surprise attack. He was instrumental in developing the tactics and strategies that would become the hallmark of the USAAF's Bomber Command, including the use of high-altitude precision bombing and the development of defensive formations. In 1942, LeMay was promoted to colonel and became the commander of the 305th Bombardment Group, which was stationed in England. He led his group on several daring missions, including a notable raid on the German submarine base at Saint-Nazaire, where his bombers successfully destroyed key enemy installations and disrupted the U-boat campaign that had been terrorizing Allied shipping lanes. LeMay's leadership and tactical expertise earned him widespread recognition, and he became known as one of the most innovative and effective bomber commanders in the USAAF. As the war raged on, LeMay continued to play a key role in shaping the USAAF's bombing strategy, working closely with other senior leaders to develop new tactics and technologies that would give the Allies a decisive edge over their enemies. In 1944, he was promoted to Major General and became the commander of the 20th Air Force, which was responsible for launching B-29 Superfortress raids against Japan. LeMay's leadership during this period was marked by a series of daring and innovative tactics, including the use of low-altitude incendiary bombing and the development of a sophisticated system for targeting and destroying enemy industrial facilities. The B-29, with its impressive range and payload capacity, proved to be a game-changer in the Pacific theater, allowing LeMay's bombers to strike deep into enemy territory and wreak havoc on Japanese cities and industries. However, the campaign was not without its challenges, as LeMay faced opposition from some of his colleagues who were concerned about the morality and effectiveness of the new tactics. Undeterred, LeMay pressed ahead, convinced that the ends justified the means and that the Allies had to be willing to take bold action if they were to defeat the enemy. LeMay's most notable achievement during this period came on March 9–10, 1945, when he led a massive firebombing raid against Tokyo. The raid, which became known as the Great Tokyo Fire Raid, killed an estimated 100,000 people and destroyed much of the city, leaving behind a trail of devastation and despair that would haunt the survivors for generations to come. LeMay's decision to use low-altitude incendiary bombing had been controversial, but it ultimately proved to be a decisive factor in the Allied victory, as the Japanese government was forced to confront the reality of its own vulnerability and the devastating consequences of continued resistance. As the war drew to a close, Curtis LeMay's reputation as a brilliant and unorthodox commander was cemented, much like the strategic bomber fleets he had so masterfully wielded against the enemy. The year 1945 would prove to be a pivotal one for LeMay, as he was promoted to lieutenant general and became the deputy chief of staff for research and development, overseeing the development of new technologies that would shape the future of air power. This appointment not only reflected his technical expertise, but also underscored the U.S. military's recognition of his innovative approach to strategic bombing. LeMay's tenure in this role was marked by his characteristic pragmatism and focus on results. As he once succinctly put it, "The main thing is to get the job done, and if it can be done with a little less fuss and bother, so much the better." This approach would become a hallmark of his career, guiding his decisions as he navigated the complexities of military leadership in the post-war era. His emphasis on efficiency and effectiveness was not merely about streamlining processes, but also about maximizing the impact of air power, a philosophy that would influence generations of military strategists. The late 1940s and early 1950s saw LeMay at the helm of the Strategic Air Command, SAC, where he played an instrumental role in developing the U.S. nuclear deterrent. His leadership during this period was crucial in establishing SAC as a dominant force in the Cold War, an era marked by the shadow of nuclear war and the delicate balance of power between superpowers. LeMay's vision for SAC was not just about accumulating nuclear capabilities, but also about ensuring that these forces were strategically deployable and tactically effective. As the 1950s gave way to the 1960s, LeMay became an increasingly vocal advocate for a strong national defense, reflecting his deep-seated belief in the importance of military preparedness in an uncertain world. His advocacy extended beyond traditional air power, as he was also a key figure in the development of the U.S. space program. This expansion of his interests underscores his recognition of the evolving nature of warfare and the need for military leaders to embrace new technologies and strategies. LeMay's appointment as the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force from 1957 to 1961 marked another significant chapter in his career, during which he oversaw the development of new aircraft and missile systems. The B-52 bomber and the Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missile are notable examples of the technological advancements that occurred under his stewardship. These developments not only reflected LeMay's commitment to innovation, but also highlighted his understanding of the strategic imperatives of the Cold War, where deterrence and the capability to project power were paramount. However, LeMay's later years were not without controversy. His vocal criticism of U.S. foreign policy and his advocacy for a more aggressive approach to national defense led to his candidacy for vice president on the American Independent Party ticket in 1968. Although this political foray was unsuccessful, it underscored LeMay's unwavering commitment to his principles, even when they diverged from mainstream opinion. This aspect of his personality, his willingness to challenge prevailing views and advocate for what he believed in, regardless of popularity, adds depth to our understanding of him as a complex and multifaceted individual. Today, Curtis LeMay is remembered as one of the most innovative and influential military leaders of the 20th century. His legacy extends far beyond his contributions to air power, encompassing his pivotal role in shaping the U.S. nuclear deterrent and the country's approach to national defense. Historian Thomas Hughes aptly captures LeMay's essence when he describes him as a man of immense energy and intellect, who brought a unique combination of technical expertise and strategic vision to the challenges of modern warfare. This assessment highlights not only LeMay's intellectual and professional capabilities, but also his boundless energy and passion for his work. LeMay's impact on modern air power is still palpable, with his emphasis on technological innovation and strategic thinking continuing to influence the development of new aircraft and missile systems. Moreover, his commitment to a strong national defense has had a lasting influence on U.S. foreign policy, as successive generations of military leaders have grappled with the challenges of maintaining a credible deterrent in an increasingly complex and uncertain world. His contributions to air power and the U.S. nuclear deterrent are undeniable, and his influence continues to shape military strategy and policy today. The study of his biography serves as a powerful reminder that understanding the past is not merely an academic exercise, but a vital component of learning from those who have come before us, enabling us to navigate the challenges of the present and future more effectively. His story, with all its complexities and controversies, offers valuable lessons for anyone interested in the history of warfare, the evolution of air power, and the enduring challenges of national defense. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.